Hey everybody, I get the question a lot. How easy is it really to convert 5e monsters into Nimble or monsters from other systems even? So I want to walk you through exactly how to do it. It's really super easy. You can do it ahead of time if you're really concerned about peace of mind. You don't have to worry about, ooh, can I really do this on the fly? But for 5e monsters at least, it's easy enough to where you could just do it on the fly. As you're playing, just open it up. First time you look at the stat block, you just run exactly as written for Nimble. But I wanted to walk you through how to convert some 5e monsters and monsters from other systems. This is how I would do it. So here we have a goblin stat block, and basically what we do is we just ignore most of the stat block, which is really handy. So we've got goblin small, armor medium. So right here he has armor class of 15. So if a monster has anywhere from 15 to 17 armor, it's medium. If it has less AC, if it has less than that, it's unarmored. If it has more than that, it has heavy armor. So he's got medium armor and 7 hit points. So here we have traits. You can ignore challenge rating and proficiency bonus. Traits, nimble escape. So you could just run this exactly as written. Goblin can take disengage or hide action as a bonus action on each of its turns. You could just say nimble escape. Goblin is immune to opportunity attacks, which is basically what disengage does. Hide is pretty fiddly. And it's a little bit confusing how to run it as the GM. Like they can see the mini on the table, but it's hiding. So it's just a little bit fiddly. It's a little bit weird to do. So could we take the same flavor and just sort of make it a little bit easier to run so it's less confusing for the GM? So rather than give me a choice, disengage or hide, and I can do it, I don't have to do it. Like it's just a lot of extra choices for the GM to make. Let's make the GM's job as easy as possible. So rather than giving this choice, let's just say, we could say, Nimble Escape, after attacking, move 2 spaces. So they could like run up to the melee guys, smack them, and then run away. So on the melee guy's turn, they're gonna have to spin an action to move and attack the goblin, which feels like very goblin-y, very sort of chaotic. Or the goblin can run up to the front lines, smack them, and then run past the front lines and sort of start to get to the back lines, making combat a little bit more interesting. You could just run it exactly as is. I'm just sort of showing you how to. Like, if you wanted to make it a little bit more interesting without really changing the balance of it, you could do that. Actions. We basically ignore everything except for what is in the parentheses. 1d6 plus 2, that's all you need to know. And he doesn't need to have 2 different attacks. Stab, 1d6 plus 2, or shoot, range 6. Okay, so you just basically just ignore 95% of the stat block, and there you go. You've got a nimble stat block. Let's go down. Let's take a look at what a little bit more complicated stat block would be. Here we have an air elemental. It's a CR5. It's a CR5 monster. So let's see what he would be. So AC 15 would be armor medium. He would have 90 hit points. A speed, instead of 90, just divide it by 5, or the ranges and distances in Nimble are much shorter, but speed of 10 is like really fast. Okay, so but you could just take the 90 and divide it by 5, and that's its speed. That's the number of spaces. Or you could just leave it as 90 feet and just count, 5 spaces. But in general, again, anytime you can make things easier on people, go ahead and make things easier on people. So it's easier to judge if something is 18 spaces away, or 10 spaces away, or 12 spaces away, rather than 90 feet. Right. So if you can just see, like, if something is like roughly that far, yeah, that's more than 5 spaces, less than 10, right? But is that more than 40 feet or less than 90 feet? Like, oh, I don't know. I'll have to just count by 5s every single time. So it's just like one additional step. It's not hard, but it's one additional step. If we can make people's lives simpler, then we can do that. So generally people know, if you have a pencil, and if you're playing on a tabletop, a pencil, mechanical or otherwise, is about 6 spaces, about 30 feet. Okay, 6 inches. Or for average people, the distance between your thumb and your pinky. So you can just sort of like do this. Yeah, I can just hold your little hand up, or hold your pencil up, or just sort of eyeball it. Yeah, he's within 30 feet. He's within 6 spaces. Okay. So again, anytime you can make things easier, let's go ahead and do that. We'll leave all the saves alone. We don't need to worry about that. Um, Resistances, bludgeoning, lightning, piercing, slashing. I would actually just ignore all of that. I would just ignore all of that. We don't really need to worry about a lot of these things. Um, Damage vulnerabilities are a lot more interesting than resistances and immunities. So we'll come back to that in just a second. But a lot of these, a lot of these things that make um, playing in 5e, like, unconscious and stunned and paralyzed and all these kind of things. It just doesn't really exist in Nimble, both for the GM and for the players. So you don't really have to worry about shoring up the strength of your monsters in that kind of sort of fiddly way and having to check like every time someone attacks, oh, is it bludgeoning, lightning, piercing, slashing, poison, thunder, exhaustion, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poison, prone. Oh, it has poison twice. Prone, restrain. So he's immune to all these things. No, no, no. Like let's forget all these things. If the thing doesn't have legs or feet, like okay, like as a GM, you can just say he's immune to prone. You can't knock a windstorm prone. You can just you use your common sense. So, for instance, like with speed, with on the goblin stat block, even how detailed the 5e stat blocks are, it doesn't say it propels itself forward on its feet, pushing against the ground versus gravity and forward in this sort of locomotion. It doesn't say that. Like it assumes that you're smart enough to know that like it's sort of running. If it's running, yeah, you can knock it over, right? If it's a storm cloud that's flying, you can't knock it over. So do you really need to say that it's immune to prone? I think not. I think not. It just gives fewer things for you to have to worry about, fewer things to distract you in a stat block. Okay, let's keep going. So this is a CR5. So if we look at our handy dandy monster builder chart over here, we can see that a CR5 is equivalent to, where is it? So we'll go to the last column here, CR equivalent 5. This is going to be a level 10 monster. The great thing about Nimble is it's very easy and intuitive to build encounters. So if this was CR5, like how many air elementals would you want to have against 7 level 10 heroes? Like, I have no idea. I have no idea. Would 4 air elementals be easy, deadly? Like it's hard to sort of intuit that. But if we have the monster level is 10, if you have 7 level 10 heroes, 7 air elementals is how many you want to have. The monster levels equal the hero levels. That's it. He's going to be a level 10 monster. There's a couple different ways we can do this. I'm gonna just convert this right from 5e. I'm gonna run it as written as 5e, and then I'm going to sort of rebuild it in a little bit more of an interesting way. So air elemental. Let's ignore all these resistances and things. We don't need all of that. Air form. It can enter creatures' spaces and stop there. It can move through a spaces and arrows. Okay, so all right. So yeah, again, it's wind. It can enter another creature's space. Multi-attack. The elemental makes 2 thunderous slam attacks. Thunder Slam, it just deals damage. It's not that interesting. So if we wanted to run it just as written, let's go ahead and give these bullet points because bullet points help your brain organize things. There you go. So this is the elemental stat block. It's going to be about as challenging as you would expect. It's going to be about as fun as any 5e monster would be. Fun enough, but not that great. So if I was going to tweak this, this is how we do it. Let's look at the level 10 line in our handy dandy little monster chart. So level 10, monsters having armor is just kind of unfun. Armor should be rare. So this guy, he's just like a windstorm. He shouldn't really need armor. So we won't give him any armor. We'll just increase his hit points instead. So if we were going to give him medium armor, he would have 94 hit points. So like the 5e says 90. Okay, he's going to be a little bit less survivable, but that's fine but he has all these like resistances and immunities and things. But it's just a little bit fiddly. So let's just go ahead and give him 118. We'll call it 120. 120 hit points. In general, in Nimble, the numbers are a lot more forgiving. So it's 119, 120, like it doesn't really matter. Don't stress too much about the numbers exactly. But what we want to look at is this column here, damage per round. So we expect him to be doing 30 damage per round. So I don't want to have to reinvent the entire stat block because that's a lot of work. But could I take this and just make it more interesting, more fun to run? Anybody can deal 2d8 plus 5 damage. So let's just delete that and let's just have his only attack be Whirlwind. So reach 0, I really like that, especially because he's so fast. So 4d10 plus 2 is a lot to be adding up. On average, how much damage is that going to be on average? It's going to be like 22 damage, 23 damage on average. And that's about because it knocks back and it does prone, because it does all of that. We can lower the damage a little bit. So it does. So anytime your monsters have like additional effects, like it stun, not stun, but like daze or poisons or like does other things, knock back, knock prone, or grapple. just reduce the damage a little bit to compensate for that. If his attack did no additional effects, it should be dealing 30 damage per round. Because it's knocking back and knocking prone, I'm gonna target maybe 20 damage per round. So let's just say 2d10. So that's gonna be about 10 damage. 2d10 plus 10. That's gonna be very very easy to add. Anytime we can simplify even the math of the dice, even the number of dice, let's go ahead and simplify that. So 2d10 damage and knockback 4 spaces. I'm gonna reduce that a little bit. Knockback 4 is just a little bit extreme. Let's say knockback 3 and prone. And in general, it's not good to have multiple rolls for one effect because it's just extra steps. If we can streamline it at all, let's go and streamline it. Let's focus on just the fun parts, the most fun parts. So I would have this either be a strength save or I would have this a damaging attack, not both. Let's just ignore all of that. And something that we could do, so if we didn't want to knock back every single time because that's a little bit annoying, then we could maybe gate it behind something. So we could tweak it to like 1d4 plus 20, and on crit, knock back and prone, like something like that. You're dealing roughly the same amount of damage, but you're only knocking back and knocking prone 25% of the time. I think this guy, because he's an air elemental, his whole shtick, his whole thing is like being windy and stuff. I think it makes perfect sense. It's not gonna feel too bad for your heroes to be like knocked and pushed around and all this sort of stuff. I think that's gonna be pretty cool. And I'm gonna change it to knockback 2 just because doing it too much is gonna be, we don't want to wear out our welcome. I think knockback 2 is gonna be plenty. So that is the air elemental. It's going to be much more fun. It's going to be much easier to run. Heroes are going to have to figure out how to deal with this guy who's pushing them all around and knocking them prone all the time. And I think it's going to be a pretty fun encounter. All right, so forget about 5e monsters. They're pretty easy to to convert. Like you just convert them on the fly. What about other systems like the OSR OSE type of systems where it's like D&D adjacent, but like not really? It's got a lot of like different things that are going on. We can even use those monsters in Nimble by using our handy dandy monster chart. Cloud Giant, aggressive, 20 foot tall. Okay, so that's what they look like. Let's just say, because it's the truth, I don't know how this stat block works. I don't know what Thaco does. I don't know what MV does. I assume that's movement. So I don't know what any of these things are. I think I heard somewhere that the number of hit dice that monsters in the OSR OSE have is kind of equivalent to their level. So let's just say this guy's level 12. He's a cloud giant. They don't strike me as particularly like heavily armored. So we'll just say that he has 150 hit points. This guy's gonna be, he's a giant. Like what? Like I would have to take like 15 steps in order to like match his stride. So let's give him a speed of 10 also. Like 8 might be fine. Like he's not super, yeah, let's say speed 10. Again, it's not gonna break the system if it's 8 or 10 or 12. He moves a bit faster than the heroes. So we've got all of that. How much damage do we want him to be doing per round? We want him to be dealing 35 damage per round, okay? We don't need to transfer every single thing into the stat block because, less is more. But if we can get like just 1 or 2 key flavorful things, it's going to feel like a cloud giant rather than a goblin. Boulder throwing up to 200 feet, okay? These guys are big and strong, and 200 feet's pretty far. We'll say 12 feet. Like the maximum range in Nimble is kind of 12. Throwing a boulder, like even if these guys are accurate, throwing a boulder is quite the thing. Let's give them D12s. Okay, so some number of D12s. So maybe like 2D12. 2D12 isn't going to be too hard to add. But what if you get like an 11 and a 7? Like ugh. Or like a 7 plus 9. Like those are like just like sort of spooky numbers. Let's say 1D12. Let's just say 1d12, just to make it easier on ourselves. 1d12, but if we want to be dealing 35 damage, so 1d12 plus 30 is roughly the amount of damage that we have. So 1d12 plus 30. If it's a boulder, if something threw a boulder at me, it would at least knock me prone. I might get stuck under it. So we have to think, do we want this to knock prone or restrain? That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Also, what we have here, built into, not this one, hate intruders may block mountain passes to ensure isolation. So let's say, all right, so there's a boulder there now. It's difficult terrain. You still go through that space, so the space isn't like completely clogged up, but that space becomes difficult terrain. So like these guys, they're sort of changed their environment. So that's pretty cool. Let's say on damage, prone and restrained. Okay, so 1d12 plus 30, and that space becomes difficult terrain. On damage, prone and restrained. That's probably going to be a little bit too annoying. So if it was either prone or restrained, it might be okay. We'd probably want to lower the damage just a little bit. I'm going to show you something cool that you could do with the monster builder chart. These cloud giants, they feel like since they're ranged, they should have less survivability because they have such long range. Ways to keep heroes away. So they should be a little bit more of a glass cannon type of thing. They should still be beefy. They should still be tough. So what we can do, let's look over here at our monster builder chart. So these guys are what, level 12. So let's say their survivability is equal to a level 10 guy. So let's give them 120 hit points instead of 150. And then we can say that their damage is going to be equivalent to maybe a level 14. So we went down a level or up the chart for their survivability, and now we can increase the damage by 2 levels. So you could just take all the stats of a level 12 creature, but if we wanted this to be like a ranged artillery kind of thing, we're going to lower the survivability 2 or 3 levels. We're going to increase their damage by 2 or 3 levels. Okay, so that kind of thing would be, that's how you can do that kind of thing very, very easily, and it's going to remain balanced. Now, the amount of damage that we would expect him to be dealing is 40 damage per round. Okay, so that'd be roughly, 1d12 plus 34, something like that. But I do like the idea of being prone and restrained, but I don't think that happening every time is going to be very fun. So this is what I'm going to do. If I wanted to add like some special ability just to prevent like silly shenanigans, because this guy has range 12. Just if I was making this for like a monster manual, a monster guide for other people, I wouldn't want the GM to think that the best way to play this, the most fun way to play this, would be to like kite the heroes constantly, knocking them prone and running away. Like that doesn't feel very gianty to me. So like he does not retreat. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So you could do something like that just as like sort of GM, like running the monster advice. But this guy, he is throwing boulders and he's knocking people over and he's squishing them under. And like, yeah, that feels pretty cool. That feels really cool. So that is a cloud giant. So when you're using other systems, don't worry about. So this is old school essentials. Don't worry about getting every little detail and converting every single number. Select how difficult you want the monster to be, and then you see if you can pull out flavor and just like pull 1 cool or 2 cool iconic things out to make this monster feel unique. And there you go. You have your stat block. What about other systems? So here I've got a stat block from Andrew Kolb's masterpiece, Neverland. So he's got a ton of stat blocks, and they're sort of like 5e adjacent, but they're not really 5e exactly. So we can do the same kind of thing for this. So we have a stat block for this baritone mermaid, which is super cute. So mermaid hit die 8. So there's no CR here. So with 5e stat blocks, you'll just look at the CR sort of to tell what level it is. But for this guy, we're going to use its hit die as its level. So it has 8 hit dice. So there's going to be a level 8. We'll give her 90 hit points. We'll ignore all of this speed and stuff. Don't worry about that. Resistance. Okay, yeah, just ignore all of these things. Attacks magic club. That's not her cool thing. Anybody can have a magic club. That's not a cool thing. Magic bubble. 30 feet. So it's a ranged attack. That's cool. Sing. Yeah, mermaids should definitely have a sing thing. 10-foot radius. Ooh, okay. So it's an AoE thing. That's nice. 2d10 mental damage. So magic bubble. Range 8. So let's see how much damage she's supposed to be doing. Let's go over here. So she is supposed to be dealing 26 damage per round. Because this is ranged and it's going to have some cool effect. I don't know what the effect is yet. Let's lower the damage a little bit. So let's target, so if she's supposed to be dealing 26 damage, I'm going to say this is going to be 20 damage. So how can we deal 20 damage? I feel like she should be rolling d6s. And here on the monster chart, there is advice on, what die size use. It really doesn't matter a whole lot. It sort of does give an interesting flavor to it, though. Let's just start, because like mermaids are not like incredibly like powerful creatures. So if it was like a really powerful creature, yeah, do like a beast would be like, it's like goblins roll like d6s, kobolds roll d4s, bandits roll d8s, beasts might be d8 or d10, and like, giants and things or d12s, sometimes d20s. So like that kind of, so like the die size that you roll, it affects the accuracy, affects different things, but really like it's sort of the flavor, like, ooh, like the GM's rolling a d20, like this could hurt, right? So like the mermaids aren't doing that kind of thing. The mermaids are sort of, they're singing at you, they're doing stuff. So like d6 feels about right. So let's say 1d6 plus, let's say 1d6 plus 10. But, like, this is a magical bubble. Like, you can't just, like, block a magical bubble with your shield. Like, a shield might help, but, like, it's going to, like, ignore half the damage. That feels pretty cool. It's not corroding, so, like, we're taking the corroding effect, um, but, like, we don't want the players asking, like, "Well, do I need to fix my weapon? Do I need to fix my armor? Like, you know, is it too bad?" Like, we don't wanna damage the hero's things. This is not like an acid bubble either, but we're taking the flavor of it, and we're doing something cool. So this is gonna be 16 damage, like, you know, 13 damage. Um, so maybe we could deal 2d6 plus 10. So that's going to be, you know, 16 damage. So it's substantially less damage than she's called that's called for, but it's ignoring some of the armor. So that sort of makes up for it a little bit. Okay, and again, the numbers in Nimble are much forgiving. They're much more forgiving. You don't have to worry about getting exactly everything correct, and you're going to break, or otherwise you're going to break everything. There's a lot of wiggle room for a little bit of finesse. If you're very creative, you can use that. If you're not very creative, just stick exactly to the chart, and you won't go wrong. Okay. So sing. I feel like she should definitely have a sing thing. So psychic damage, yeah, psychic damage. So she can deal some amount of psychic damage. I feel like her sing thing should be actually dangerous. So she should be dealing 26 damage. So let's just say 26. So it's gonna be 2d6 plus 20. Okay, 2d6 plus 20, pushed back 10 feet. Yeah, that feels really cool. So say like there's a group of mermaids. So we're like, as we're building it, we're thinking of different ways that the combat is going to come. Okay, so let's say like there's 3 different mermaids and the heroes over here. So like they'll use their bubble thing, and the heroes are going to go and they're going to be next to him and they'll smack him and stuff. So on the mermaid's turn, the first mermaid is going to sing, ah, and then push him away. And then the other mermaids, now they're away from them. Now they can, like, you know, do the bubbles and stuff, right? And they come back and like, so that feels like a cool kind of thing. Okay, it wouldn't make sense to have it be a knockback. It should be so. I'm thinking a lot of things here. So just flavor wise. So if we want to just do that, so this would be the easy way. Knock back 2 spaces. Okay, so this would be the easy thing. We did it. We converted the monster stat block. It's going to play very similar to how Andrew Kolb designed it. It's going to feel exactly the same, and it's going to be a challenge for a level 8 hero. So you could do that. But now I'm just sort of thinking of the flavor. If the mermaid's whole thing, like, can you block singing with a shield? You can't. You can't. So this mermaid. So I'm just thinking a few things. So this mermaid, she doesn't really want to be near people. So let's go ahead and let's make her squishier. So we're going to downgrade her her survivability 2 steps. So we're going to give her 68. So we'll give her 70 hit points. So these mermaids, they're pretty squishy. Like, they're mermaids. They don't have shields and stuff. They're not like battle hardened. They got bubbles and they sing and stuff. But I think their thing is going to be like their abilities ignore armor. So if it ignores armor, we're going to reduce the damage substantially, because armor is a pretty big deal. Okay, so that might be cool, and it makes sense that it makes that ignores armor. Like, you can't just dodge out of the way of the sing. You can't block the singing. No, it ignores armor. Other things you could do, you could have it daze the target, like on a crit, dazed. So you could do something like that, and it's only going to happen, 1/6 of the time. 1 out of 6, it's going to happen. But if there's a bunch of mermaids and they're all being surrounded, like, it makes sense that kind of thing would happen. I think that would be a pretty cool monster stat block. Okay, let's go down to another example. So this is from my friend JP Kuvert's fantastic book by today, Dragontown, Flick Silverpin's Guide to Dragontown and the Darkness Below. So this is from his book, An Animated Bramble. So cute little dude. And so this is like much less of a stat block and more just like of a flavor block. Is sort of what I would call it. So they're just like these little dots, and like a couple of cool abilities and a cute little picture. So can we convert this to Nimble? Yeah, we could. So this is like a tiny little dude, and I think the hero's going to be like level 1 around this time. So let's go and do it. He's going to have 26 hit points. I see no reason to change that. 26 hit points. He's not going to be armored. But I think he should have some sort of ability. You know what? Let's give him 20 hit points, and we'll give him ability, because he's a bramble. When damaged in melee, deal 2 damage back. Okay, so it's not a lot of damage, but like he's a bramble. You smack him, he's gonna poke you. Um, Thorny. There we go. So he's not armored though. So dripping thorns. So he doesn't have a lot of health. He's immobile, armor, speed. Okay, slashes with his thorny vines or fires a thorn dart. The thorn's poison causes drowsiness that sleep cannot cure. Ooh, that's cool. So let's do 1d4. And how much damage should a level 1 creature be doing? 11. So we're already dealing a little bit of damage from his cool ability. So we can say he can deal like 8 or 9 or 10 damage. That's going to feel a little bit more appropriate. So 1d4, so that's on average going to be 2 damage. So let's say 1d4 plus 8. So 1d4 plus 8 damage, and I'll say on crit, poisoned. So you can say on crit poisoned or on crit dazed. So because it says the poison causes drowsiness, let's say on crit dazed until healed. Right, there you go. And like, so if someone, heals you some hit points, or after the combat encounter is over, you can spin your hit dice to heal yourself. There you go. So that is an animated bramble. So not every monster has to be like super complicated and like really like evocative and stuff. This is a little pokey little dude, and it took like what 2 minutes to make a stat block. And I know he's going to be appropriately statted. It's going to be a cool challenge, and it's going to be fun because no other dude has this combination of abilities. He's not going to feel like fighting a goblin, and maybe we could even say speed 2 because he's moving really slow. 1d4 plus 8, and we can say range. Let's give him a range of like 8, something like that. Or maybe range of 8, range something like that. And I would just have to note that like, all right, this guy sort of has to be in like a smallish room, something like that. We give him range if we want to. You really don't have to. If your players are the kind of players that are going to try to kite things, give them a little bit more speed, or like put some monsters behind them. Like you can avoid annoying situations. But as a stat block, that's all I would do for my buddy JP Kuvert's Dragontown and the Darkest Below. What about other RPG systems? Here I've got a stat block. I just opened up my Savage, not Savage, Forbidden Lands. I open up. I don't even know what I don't even know what this game is. Forbidden Lands. I just opened up my Forbidden Lands GM guide, and to a random page, and here we have the int. So again, the int. He's a plant boy. But he's gonna be a lot stronger. Let's say this guy's like level 14. Let's give him big damage. Level 14. So level 14 int, 184 hit points. And this guy, he feels like someone who would have like heavy armor. Let's go ahead and give him heavy armor. So he's gonna have 110 hit points. So H armor, 110 hit points. There you go. And you can format it to make it more clear if you really want to, but it really doesn't matter. If you're just making notes for yourself, just make it so that you can read it, so that you can understand it. So I haven't even read this guy's stat block yet, but let's go ahead and do it together. Let's see if we can zoom in. So I don't know how, what is this, Forbidden Lands? I don't know how Forbidden Lands works. I've never read the stat block. But let's make a monster. Horrible roar. The int lets out a terrifying roar. All adventurers within near range, I don't know what that means, suffer a fear attack with 7 base dice. Okay, so I don't know what any of this means, but I do know what a roar means. And I know what fear means. Okay, so I could just say, this doesn't really feel like an attack as much as like an opening ability. So let's say, what DC should we pick, or we're just gonna make it up? No, here it is in the monster stat block, or the monster builder chart. 17. Make a DC. So he has a cool opening ability. Right, so already he feels different than this other plant guy. He feels different than the other thing. He's got a horrible roar. Let's see, sweeping blow. The int swings its large trunk against 2 adventurers within near range. Okay, so sweeping blow, that makes sense. Gnarly roots does some damage, and grapples, crushing grip. So we don't need 6 abilities. Let's give him 1 range ability and 1 up close ability. Rock throw. You know what we could do? We could just grab the rock throw from this guy that we did already. Throw boulder. We'll adjust it for a level 14 monster. All right, so we've got this int. throw boulder. Let's say rock throw. Rock throw. Rock throw, range 12. That's fine. 1d4 feels about right because like it's like kind of inaccurate. It's gonna miss 25% of the time. So level 14 hero monster should be dealing 40 damage. Um, so this is just a rock, so it's not gonna make it difficult terrain, and it's not going to restrain. So let's just say on crit prone. Yeah, that feels pretty good. So like if it hits you in the shoulder, it's not gonna knock you prone, but it's gonna smart. It's gonna hurt a little bit. Um, Okay, so since it is such a long range, so we could just do 1d4 plus what? 1d4 plus 37, like something like that, and it would be exactly the right amount of damage. But I like that because it's such long range, we're gonna lower the damage just a little bit, and we're gonna add this cool little effect that because it makes it so like on crit, like it hits you in the head, it's not prone. Like think of David and Goliath. Okay, so rock throw, or and since we have two things, we're going to go and make some bullet points. Rock throw, or what was it? Sweeping something another? Let's just say reach 2. So this attack, so generally I recommend avoiding using multiple different kinds of dice because it's just a little bit fiddly. But this one, I feel like if you're standing right next to a tree and it like goes to like swipe at you, like it's pretty much gonna hit you. Like it's hitting you with an enormous baseball bat. Okay, it's not missing you. So let's make this a 1d12 attack. This is an int. That is a pretty cool int stat block. And again, what did it take? Like I didn't have to study this and like make up a bunch of tables and figure out how the rules work and all this sort of stuff. Take one or two cool evocative abilities, and using the monster builder, you can make awesome monsters really quick. Not a whole lot of effort. Ooh, what about this? We have the Land of Eam. We have the Land of Eam. Again, I don't know how to play the Land of Eam, but it has some really cool monsters like this Deep Naiad. I love the art, love everything about this. I don't know what any of these things mean, but we're going to make a Naiad stat block together. Going by my gut feeling, this is not as strong as an int. This is probably going to be like level 4, level 5 kind of dude. Let's say level 4. This is going to be level 4, sort of little dork. It's not very strong, just looking at the art, it's not very strong, but it looks like it does a lot of like shenanigans with its song. So it does a lot of shenanigans with its song. Deep Naiads attempt to control the battle with mind control and incapacitation. So we are going to absolutely ignore the incapacitation thing, but mind control. That feels really cool. Save. I like the idea of like not knowing exactly what this song is going to do. Will save. So let's say
Reach. Reach. 10, because it's a song, like you can sing from pretty far away, like if someone is, maybe not 10, maybe reach 8. Will save. Okay, so let's, that's a bullet points.
we could do something like this. On a 9, on 9 or less, spend. Okay, so like it ensorcelled. I don't know what ensorcelled means, but it seems like that would be like mind control kind of thing. Spend 1 action for the hero. Cool. And let's make it add a little bit of damage because the hero is going to be making a will save. We don't want the damage to be questionable, so we just need to know exactly how much damage it does. So this is a level 4 dork, but it's doing some cool. It's dealing other effects other than damage. So it shouldn't deal exactly 80 damage. It should deal a little bit less. So let's say 15 damage.
15. So let's say 12 psychic damage, since it's armor. We don't want to beat up on heroes too bad.
So on a result of 9 or less, deal 12 psych damage and spin 1 action for the hero. That's cool. On a 10 to let's say 15. Okay, because like a 15. So a level 4 guy has a DC of 12. So let's actually say 10 to 12. It's going to deal 6 psychic damage, ignoring armor. And then 12, let's say 13 plus, let's say maybe 4. Because like no matter what happens, we want progress to be happening. We don't want the hero's turn to be I do a thing and the combat does and I miss. Like nothing happens. That should be a possibility, but that shouldn't be the typical thing. Okay. So we need to be careful about like and this Naiad's attack. He says, and nothing happens. Something should happen, but like you're able to resist most of it, right? There we go. That is the deep Naiad. This sort of cool control-y thing. So you can, if the heroes are like really winning, you can target somebody and make that hero attack one of their allies. So that's increasing the damage. You like pick the berserker, like the dumb guy, or someone that you think has a weak will save. If the heroes are winning, you can really ramp up the difficulty by having them attack each other. But if like you've overtuned the encounter, we'll target the mage who has really high will save, or we'll target the Oathsworn. We'll target something that has high will save, and then instead of using that action to attack, we can just use that action to just like move them away from the Naiad, because the Naiad would do that too. It like, all right, you're too close to me, move away, right? And I'll keep singing at you. That kind of thing would be pretty cool. It gives you plenty of things to do, and you're not really sure exactly what's going to happen, but you know kind of what's going to happen. Okay, so that. The Muckman. I think I'm not going to make a whole stat block for this guy, but you can do the exact same thing for this guy. Muckchuck. So amorphous form, ranged weapons inflict no dread to Muckmen except artillery weapons. So I don't know what that means. I think dread is kind of like their hit points or something. So we can say immune to range attacks except for crits. There you go. So that's his sort of ability. Muckchuck, make a range attack at a nearby or far away target with a blob of mud. Doing so inflicts one dread to the Muckman. Okay, so that's really flavorful. Give him like pick whatever level you want him to be. It doesn't matter, if it's a level 3 Muckman, level 18 Muckman. Pick whatever number you want this Muckman to be. He's going to deal some amount of damage to the heroes, and he's going to deal some amount of damage to himself. That's cool. That's really neat. Engulfed on a 9 or greater melee hit. So I would say, so some sort of, this is your range attack. So if nobody's next to you, do this. If somebody's next to you, do this. Okay. So let's say 1d6 plus whatever on crit, they're engulfed, and then something happens, they're restrained, and blah 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 blah. That's all you have to do to make a Muckman stat block. What about something a little bit more interesting? So what about if we're not even talking about RPGs? What if we're talking about like a card game, like Magic, or even like this cool Star Wars card game that I have? Like, can you convert monsters from these into into Nimble stat blocks? You definitely could. So what if I wanted a Banalish Faith Bonder? I just opened up a box of cards that I have here and it's like, let's make this one. Vigilance is like, so this monster doesn't have to tap to attack. Maybe that's useful, maybe it's not, but right away we get this flavor here of, it has 1 power and 3 toughness. So its mana cost is 2, so you don't have to do this, but I would just call this, it has a mana cost of 2, it's a level 2 monster, but he has a 1 power and 3 toughness, which is something cool. So if he's level 2, let's give him, let's go, let's decreases his damage 1 level, and will increase his toughness, his survivability by 1 level, because he has like low power but high toughness. Okay, so he's level 2 guy. His damage should be 13. Let's say his damage is 11. Okay, DPR 11. His hit points is going to be 41. Vigilance, I don't know how we translate that into Nimble. Let's just ignore that. But Enlist is a pretty cool ability.
As this creature attacks, you may tap a non-attacking creature you control without summoning sickness. When you do, add its power to this creature's until end of turn. Okay.
So you may have never played Magic. You may not have ever even seen a Magic card. You may not know what any of these words mean. But can you see how this would be a pretty cool ability? So let's give him ability. Let's call it Enlist. So you can do that. Allies within reach 8 gain advantage on their attacks. Like whatever, whatever it is. Like, so we're just pulling the flavor out. And we're making something like this. Feels like a human cleric. This feels like someone who is like boosting their allies. Okay, so he gets that ability, and then let's just give him like some dorky little thing, light attack. All right, we'd come up with a better thing than that. And because his damage, a lot of his damage is going to be coming from his allies, we can probably say we can reduce his damage like a little bit, so like to maybe 8 damage. So let's say like 1d6, 1d6 plus 5. Okay, so that's probably going to be plenty of damage. So so you just take the maximum number of die, cut it in half, and that's basically the average. So it's good. On average, it's going to be it's going to be dealing 8 damage. 1d6 plus 5. There you go. And let's give it a reach, because in Nimble, Radiant attacks generally don't have range, they have reach. So let's say reach 6. So everything with this guy is 6s, except for this 5. We could say, 1d6 plus 6. So reach 6, 1d6 plus 6. There you go. So this is a Banalish Faith Bonder just using a magic card. So you can use all sorts of things as your inspiration. It doesn't have to be 5e monsters, and you don't have to you spend a lot of time doing this, but I know that this is going to be a balanced and fun encounter, and it's going to feel like it's this guy because he's boosting his allies. Okay, let's take a look at this. We're not going to build out a full stat block for this guy, but we'll just sort of look at the flavor. So 4, 5. So he's got a 6 mana cost, so maybe it's a level 6 guy, and he has equal power and toughness. So maybe we'll just have this guy. We'll just have this guy just use the stats as written all the way across, here. So don't worry if you don't know what domain is and what legendary creature is and all this. Don't worry about all that. When Boar Took Bone Rattle enters the battlefield, if you cast it, choose target creature card in your graveyard. Return that card to the battlefield of its mana value. Okay, so this guy brings other dudes back to life. I would give him the regular stats, give him some cool spooky range attack. Blast you with my necrotic wand thing, and then every turn he brings one dead ally back to life. Okay, so I assume like he'll be fighting with some zombies or something, or if you just wanted to be easier, like summon one zombie minion. Okay, there you go. That's Bortuk Bone Rattle. Easy peasy. What about from other card games that don't have that kind of super handy thing? This is from the Star Wars deck builder game. Really fun game if you guys would like to check it out. Really cool game. Cassian Andor, he's a trooper. I don't know what that means. Doesn't really matter. When he defeats a target in the Galaxy Row, don't worry about it if you don't know what Galaxy Row is. Your opponent discards one card from their hand. Okay, so this is a ranged guy because he's got like a blaster thing. So there's a 5 here. Let's just say he's level 5 because why not? Okay, so he's level 5, but he's a ranged guy. So let's go down 2 steps. So let's give him 41 hit points. And he probably doesn't have any armor. A stormtrooper might have armor, or something else might have armor, but this guy doesn't. And then whenever he does a thing, the opponent discards a card from your hand. So cards in a card game is sort of like their resources, like the things that you can do. So discarding a card is sort of like being dazed. So let's say whenever he damages you, he also dazes you. I'd be careful about not having too many of these Cassian Andors. But maybe you say on damage days, maximum of 1. This can't if you had a whole troop of these guys, they're not going to be dazing you all the way down to 0. Okay, so he'd be a level 5 guy. So his attack would deal 2d8 plus 10, and then on damage dazed. There you go. So that is Cassian Andor. What about a Death Trooper? While the Force is with you, this unit gains 2 guns. I don't know. There's a 3 here. Let's just pick. He's a level 3 Death Trooper. We'll give him medium armor. So level 3 Death Trooper with medium armor. He's going to have 33 hit points. He's going to attack twice for 1d8 plus 4. That feels about right. And then whenever there's more bad guys than heroes, he deals. It's going to be 1d8 plus 6. Cool. Like that, it's as easy as that, making stat blocks for Nimble. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm going to try to do something similar for legendary monsters. They're a little bit more involved because a legendary monster is one monster that does everything that should be entertaining for an entire party of any level. And of any size, and it's sort of it tells this cool cinematic story. So leisure monsters are a little bit different. They have their own chart, but I hope this is helpful for you to see how easy it is to quote unquote convert stat blocks from 5e or from OSR, OSE types of things. How to not only convert them, but to make them more interesting, and to take just the flavor out of more foreign RPGs. You could do RPGs that don't even exist yet, or other games, or just from fantasy or movies or anything. Like how would I make a Darth Vader? Okay, you just sort of go through it and do these kinds of things. You'd have a force choke. You'd have a cool lightsaber that does awesome stuff when you crit and chop them in half. It's very, very easy. It's very, very forgiving, and you can go for the flavor and not really worry about the fiddly numbers and stuff, because the numbers they're all laid out here for you, and you can be very, very confident that it's going to play exactly how you expect. Okay, guys, I hope that is helpful. Till next time.